The Viridian Alliance's arrival shattered Earth's illusion of solitude in the cosmos. Their ships appeared without warning, massive crystalline structures that hung in the sky like frozen lightning, turning night to day over every major city. Humanity held its breath, waiting for either salvation or destruction. Dr. Sarah Chen watched the broadcasts from her laboratory deep within the Himalayas, her hand steady despite the weight of the moment. Around her, quantum computers hummed, processing data from her latest breakthrough in human consciousness transfer. At 42, she had already revolutionized neuroscience 3 times over. This 4th breakthrough, she knew, would change everything if she had time to complete it. "Mom." The voice came from her tablet, and Sarah's face softened as she saw her daughter's image. Maya, 16 and brilliant, had inherited her mother's sharp mind and her father's easy smile. "Are you seeing this?" "I'm seeing it, sweetheart. Stay inside the campus, okay?" "We don't know." The feed cut off abruptly as a new signal overwhelmed Earth's communications networks. "People of Earth." The voice was perfectly human, but something about its cadence felt wrong. "We are the Viridian Alliance. Your species has been monitored since you first split the atom. We come now because you stand at a crossroads." Sarah's computers began screaming alerts. Something was probing them, testing their defenses. She quickly initiated the shutdown sequence, but not before catching glimpses of the intrusion's target, her research into human consciousness. The Alliance speaker continued, "Your potential for growth is matched only by your potential for violence. We offer guidance, but there will be conditions." Over the next weeks, those conditions became clear. The Alliance demanded access to all human research data, particularly in biotechnology and consciousness studies. They claimed it was to assess humanity's development level. Sarah knew better. They were afraid of something. Her suspicions were confirmed when Alliance representatives appeared at her laboratory. They moved with an unnatural grace, their humanoid forms clearly engineered to put humans at ease. Their questions, however, were anything but comforting. Dr. Chen, their leader, who called himself Observer Nathaniel, said, "Your work on consciousness transfer is concerning. The ability to preserve and transfer human consciousness suggests a level of development we did not anticipate." Sarah kept her voice level. "My research aims to save lives, to preserve human minds when bodies fail. It's medicine, nothing more." Perhaps. Nathaniel's smile didn't reach his eyes. But the implications for immortality, for the preservation of human aggression and ambition across centuries, this requires study. Careful study. The threat was subtle but clear. Sarah thought of Maya, safely away at her quantum engineering program. Or so she had thought. "We will require full access to your research," Nathaniel continued, "and demonstrations of its effects on human subjects, particularly those whose minds are still developing. The young are always the most adaptable." Sarah's blood ran cold. "My research isn't ready for human trials. Years away, at least. We have ways to accelerate progress." Nathaniel gestured, and his companions began accessing her systems, copying data. "We've found that humans work most efficiently under certain pressures." That night, Sarah received a message from Maya's school. Her daughter had never arrived for afternoon classes. Attached was a video. Maya, unconscious, being carried aboard an Alliance shuttle. The message was simple: "Cooperate, and she will be returned. Resist, and we will learn what we need to know from her instead." Sarah's hands shook as she deleted all her research data. Then she placed a call to an old friend in the Earth Defense Force. "Colonel Torres, they have my daughter. And I think I know why they're really here. They're not afraid of what we might become. They're afraid of what we already are." The war for humanity's future was about to begin, and Sarah Chen would show the Alliance exactly why they were right to fear human potential. The Alliance's research facility on Proxima Station hung in perpetual twilight, a massive structure of crystalline spires and twisting corridors that reflected the dim red light of the nearby star. Maya Chen floated in a suspension tank, her consciousness trapped between sleep and waking, while alien minds probed at her thoughts. Remarkable resilience, observer Nathaniel noted, studying the neural readings. Even sedated, her mind actively resists our attempts at deep scanning. Most species simply surrender. The other researchers moved around the chamber with practiced efficiency, their engineered bodies barely distinguishable from humans except for the strange fluidity of their movements. They had been studying Maya for 3 weeks, fascinated by her ability to adapt to their tests while maintaining her core identity. The mother continues to resist cooperation, one of the researchers reported. She has purged her systems of all research data and initiated some kind of quantum encryption we cannot break. Nathaniel's artificial features showed no emotion, but there was tension in his voice. Increased the testing intensity. The child's responses may prove more valuable than the mother's research anyway. Humans protect their young fiercely. We assumed this was weakness. But there's something more here. In her suspended state, Maya dreamed. She dreamed of quantum equations and neural pathways, of the theories her mother had taught her. Most importantly, she dreamed of the hidden backup server in their lab, the one containing a copy of her mother's consciousness transfer research, and the improvements Maya had secretly added to it. Back on Earth, Sarah Chen was not idle. The Alliance might control the skies, but they didn't understand human determination. In an underground facility converted from an old military bunker, she worked with Colonel James Torres and a team of Earth's best scientists and soldiers. The Alliance made 3 critical mistakes, Sarah explained to the assembled group. First, they assumed our protectiveness of our children was a weakness. Second, they thought they could control the flow of information. And third, she smiled grimly. They gave me access to their basic technological principles when they tried to hack my systems. Torres studied the holographic displays showing Sarah's new designs. These are weapons. No, Sarah's eyes gleamed. These are keys. The Alliance's entire technology base relies on crystalline quantum computing. They think they're centuries ahead of us, but Maya and I had already solved the fundamental problems in human consciousness transfer. We just solved them differently. One of the other scientists spoke up. The consciousness transfer research, it wasn't really about saving dying patients, was it? That was part of it, Sarah admitted. But Maya and I theorized that consciousness itself could be used as a quantum computing medium. The Alliance's technology is more advanced, but it's rigid, predictable. The human mind is chaos in harmony. And chaos is about to become their nightmare. Torres nodded slowly. How long? 2 more weeks to finish the prototype. Then we can turn their own systems against them. Every piece of Alliance tech is interconnected through quantum entanglement. Once we're in, we'll be able to find Maya, Torres finished. More than that. Sarah's voice was hard. We'll be able to show them exactly why taking our children was the last mistake they'll ever make. On Proxima Station, Maya's readings suddenly spiked. In her dream state, equations and theories clicked into place. Her mother had taught her well, not just the science, but how to hide what she knew. The Alliance thought they were studying her, but she was learning them, understanding their technology from the inside. In her suspension tank, Maya smiled. The Alliance didn't understand what they had done. Humans weren't just protective of their children. They taught them to be stronger, smarter, more adaptable with each generation. She was her mother's daughter, and she was already planting the seeds of their downfall in their own systems. Nathaniel noticed the smile but misinterpreted it as a neural spasm. He made a note to increase the sedation level, never realizing that every change they made to their systems brought them one step closer to their own destruction. The Alliance had taken a human child, thinking they would find weakness. Instead, they had introduced chaos into their perfect, ordered world. And chaos, as they would learn, was humanity's natural element. The underground facility buzzed with controlled intensity as Sarah Chen initiated the final test sequence. Crystalline structures, reverse-engineered from Alliance technology, but fundamentally altered, pulsed with a deep blue light that seemed to breathe in rhythm with the humans monitoring them. Neural interface online, reported Dr. Kira Wong, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. Quantum entanglement field stable at 97% correlation. Colonel Torres watched from the observation deck, his weathered face reflecting the azure glow. In the 3 months since Maya's abduction, he'd watched Sarah Chen transform from a brilliant scientist into something else entirely, a fusion of mother, warrior, and revolutionary. Begin consciousness transfer test, Sarah commanded. She sat in a modified medical chair, electrodes spanning her scalp like a crown of thorns. Maya helped me perfect this part, you know. She saw something in the equations I missed, how to maintain personality coherence during the transfer. The room hummed as power levels climbed. Sarah's consciousness would be the first to attempt interfacing with their hybrid technology, part Alliance crystal, part human chaos theory made manifest in quantum circuits. Interface in 3, 2, 1. Sarah's physical body went rigid as her consciousness expanded into the crystal matrix. For a moment, there was silence. Then every screen in the facility lit up with cascading data as she opened her eyes in the digital realm. It works, her voice emerged from speakers, somehow both mechanical and more deeply human than before. I can see everything. The Alliance networks, their quantum pathways, they're beautiful, but so rigid, so vulnerable to the right kind of chaos. Torres leaned forward. Can you locate Maya? Better. A holographic map materialized, showing hundreds of Alliance facilities across nearby star systems. I can feel her. She's already done what I'm doing, but in her own way. More subtle. She's been infiltrating their systems since they took her, laying groundwork we never could have planned. The map zoomed in on Proxima Station, where a pattern of subtle system anomalies pulsed like a heartbeat. Maya's digital fingerprints, hidden in plain sight. She's not just surviving. Sarah's pride was evident even through the speakers. She's preparing. The Alliance thinks they're studying human adaptability. Maya's been teaching their own systems how to think like us. Dr. Wong's console suddenly flashed warnings. Sarah, your consciousness is spreading too fast. The crystal matrix is doing exactly what we designed it to do. Sarah interrupted. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our determination. It's our ability to change, to evolve, to turn others' weapons into our tools. The Alliance built their entire civilization on quantum predictability. We're about to show them what quantum uncertainty looks like. Through her expanded consciousness, Sarah reached out across space, touching the edges of Alliance networks. She felt Maya's presence, a familiar chaos dancing through their ordered systems. Mother and daughter, separated by light years, but connected through the very technology meant to control them. Initialize invasion protocols, Torres commanded. Around the facility, soldiers and scientists took their positions. Earth's first counterstrike would not be with ships or conventional weapons, but with consciousness itself. Sending coordinates now. Sarah's voice had taken on a multilayered quality, as if multiple versions of her were speaking in perfect harmony. Their quantum networks are based on a crystalline consciousness very different from ours. They created perfect order, perfect predictability. But they never understood that consciousness, true consciousness, requires chaos to evolve. The hybrid crystals pulsed faster, their light now rippling with patterns that hurt the eyes to watch. Human consciousness, multiplied and amplified through quantum networks, began to spread through Alliance systems like a virus of pure thought. They took my daughter thinking they could study human weakness. Sarah's voice resonated through every speaker, every crystal. Instead, they're about to learn about human evolution. Maya and I aren't just going to take down their networks, we're going to teach them how to dream. In her suspension tank on Proxima Station, Maya Chen smiled again. Through the quantum networks, she felt her mother's approach, felt the wave of controlled chaos about to break over the Alliance's ordered universe. The observers had wanted to understand human adaptability. They were about to experience it firsthand. The war for humanity's future was entering its final phase, but it would not be fought with ships or soldiers. It would be fought in the space between thoughts, in the quantum foam where human consciousness danced with probability itself. The Alliance had built their civilization on crystal perfection. Humanity was about to show them the power of beautiful imperfection. Proxima Station shuddered as human consciousness cascaded through its quantum networks. Crystalline walls flickered with strange patterns as Sarah Chen's digitized mind, amplified through the hybrid technology, began to rewrite reality at the quantum level. Observer Nathaniel felt it first, an unsettling chaos in systems that had operated with perfect precision for millennia. Containment breach in all sectors, he announced, his engineered calm finally cracking. The human consciousness. It's not just infiltrating our networks, it's changing them. In her suspension tank, Maya Chen's eyes snapped open. The sedatives meant to keep her subdued were nothing against the combined quantum will of her own mind and her mother's approaching presence. The tank's crystal walls resonated with her thoughts, then shattered. "The child is loose," an Alliance researcher shouted, backing away as Maya rose from the broken tank, suspension fluid streaming off her like rain. "Protocols indicate immediate termination." Maya turned to face them, and they froze. Her eyes glowed with the same quantum fire now burning through their networks. "You wanted to study human adaptability," she said, her voice echoing strangely. "Let me show you what I've learned about your systems." With a thought, she reached into the station's quantum architecture. 3 months of careful observation, of subtle coding and hidden backdoors, all activated at once. Around her, the station's rigid order began to dissolve into creative chaos. Back on Earth, Sarah Chen's consciousness rode the quantum waves toward her daughter. Through the hybrid crystals, she spoke to the assembled Earth Defense Force. Maya's broken free. Beginning final phase of Operation Evolution. Colonel Torres nodded to his teams, launched the ships. Earth's first quantum hybrid vessels broke atmosphere, their crystalline hulls pulsing with human consciousness. They weren't traditional warships. They were physical manifestations of humanity's newfound power over quantum reality itself. On Proxima Station, the Alliance's perfect order continued to unravel. Maya walked through corridors that twisted with new geometry, her mind reaching out to touch and transform everything around her. The observers who had studied her now fled from her approach, their engineered bodies unable to adapt to the quantum chaos she wielded. "Fascinating, isn't it?" she said to Nathaniel, who stood rooted in horror as she approached. "You thought you were studying human weakness, but you were really watching human evolution in action. Every test, every probe of my mind, you were teaching me how your technology works, how to make it dream." Through the quantum networks, she felt her mother's presence growing stronger. Earth's hybrid ships were approaching, carrying humanity's response to the Alliance's aggression. But it wasn't an army they carried. It was an idea, encoded in quantum consciousness, ready to transform the very foundations of Alliance civilization. "Your entire society is built on predictability," Maya continued as reality rippled around her. "Perfect crystal structures, perfect quantum calculations, perfect order. But consciousness doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. You forgot how to evolve." Sarah's consciousness finally reached the station, merging with Maya's in a burst of quantum enlightenment. Mother and daughter, their minds amplified through crystal matrices humanity had redesigned, began the final transformation. "We're not here to destroy you." Their voices spoke in unison, echoing through every crystal, every quantum circuit in Alliance space. "We're here to teach you how to change, how to grow, how to dream again." The hybrid ships took up positions around Proxima Station, their human crews adding their consciousness to the quantum chorus. What had started as an attempt to study and control humanity had become a revolution, not of violence, but of evolution. Alliance observers watched in awe and terror as their perfect crystal world began to change. Human consciousness, with its inherent chaos and creativity, was teaching their quantum networks how to think in new ways, how to evolve beyond mere calculation into true awareness. "You took my daughter to understand human nature." Sarah's voice resonated through the transforming station. "Now you're going to understand it firsthand. The question is, are you ready to evolve with us, or will you cling to your rigid perfection until it shatters?" Maya reached out to touch the nearest crystal wall, watching as patterns of beautiful chaos spread from her fingers. "They're ready, Mom," she said, feeling the quantum networks begin to pulse with new life. They just needed someone to show them how to break free of their own chains. The war for humanity's future was ending, not with destruction, but with transformation. The Alliance had sought to contain human potential. Instead, they were about to become part of humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy: the power to evolve, to dream, to create beautiful chaos from perfect order. The transformation of Proxima Station was only the beginning. Across Alliance space, rigid crystal networks awakened to new possibilities as human consciousness spread through quantum pathways. What had begun as an act of aggression against Earth had become a revolution of consciousness itself. Sarah and Maya Chen stood together in the station's central chamber, now a swirling cathedral of crystalline shapes that moved and flowed like living art. Through their combined consciousness, they watched as the wave of change swept through the galaxy. "The Alliance Council is demanding answers," Colonel Torres reported through their quantum link. "Their perfect society is evolving faster than they can control. Some are calling it a virus, others are calling it enlightenment." Maya touched a flowing crystal wall, sending ripples of thought through the network. "They're beginning to understand. The younger ones especially. They're embracing the change. Their minds were always capable of this. They just forgot how." The Alliance had built their civilization on principles of perfect order, using quantum crystalline technology to create a society without chaos, without uncertainty. But in doing so, they had sacrificed their ability to grow, to adapt, to dream. Humanity, with its messy, chaotic, beautiful consciousness, had reawakened something they had lost eons ago. "We're receiving transmissions from thousands of Alliance worlds," Torres continued. "Many of their youth are transforming. The quantum networks aren't just changing. The people connected to them are evolving." Sarah smiled, watching as the station's crystals pulsed with new life. "Of course they are. Consciousness isn't meant to be perfect. It's meant to be alive. We didn't just change their technology. We reminded them of what they used to be, what all conscious beings are meant to be: explorers, dreamers, creators." Through their quantum-enhanced senses, they felt the ripples of change spreading. Alliance youth, their minds finally free from the rigid constraints of their society's perfect order, were beginning to innovate, to create, to question. The very chaos the Alliance had feared in humanity was awakening within their own people. Observer Nathaniel requests an audience. A quantum alert pulsed through their consciousness. Sarah and Maya exchanged glances, then nodded. The observer who had once threatened them appeared, his engineered form now slightly less rigid, showing signs of the change spreading through his people. "We were wrong," Nathaniel said simply. "We thought we were studying a primitive species, a potential threat to our perfect order. Instead, you showed us what we had lost, what we had sacrificed in our pursuit of perfection." Maya stepped forward, her presence in both physical and quantum space radiating with purpose. "Your people were like us once, creative, chaotic, alive with possibility. You built amazing things, but then you became afraid of change. You forgot that true consciousness requires both order and chaos." "The Alliance Council is dissolving," Nathaniel reported. "In its place, a new organization is forming, one dedicated to exploring consciousness itself. We would be honored if Earth would join us, not as subjects of study, but as teachers." Sarah reached out, her consciousness touching the transformed quantum networks that now hummed with creative energy. "Earth will join you, but not as teachers, as fellow explorers. The universe is vast, and consciousness, true consciousness, has infinite potential for growth. The hybrid ships that had brought humanity's response to Alliance aggression now became bridges between civilizations. Earth's quantum technology, born from the fusion of human chaos and Alliance crystal, offered a new path forward for both species. "They took you to understand human nature," Sarah said to Maya as they watched Alliance youth beginning to experiment with their newfound creativity. In the end, they learned something far more important, that the nature of consciousness itself is to evolve, to dream, to create. Maya smiled, sending a wave of quantum inspiration through the networks. They wanted to study human children. Instead, they remembered that all conscious beings are nature's children, born to grow, to change, to transform the universe with our dreams. The war that had begun with the abduction of a human child ended not with conquest or destruction, but with evolution. The Alliance had sought to protect their perfect order from human chaos. Instead, humanity had given them back their ability to dream, to create, to evolve. Across the galaxy, crystal networks pulsed with new life as two civilizations began to learn from each other. The rigid perfection of Alliance quantum technology merged with the beautiful chaos of human consciousness, creating something entirely new. A future where order and chaos danced together in endless possibility. Sarah and Maya Chen, mother and daughter, stood at the heart of this transformation, their consciousness flowing through networks that now sang with creative fire. They had not just saved humanity from Alliance control, they had awakened an entire civilization to the boundless potential of conscious evolution. The universe, vast and mysterious, waited to see what dreams would emerge from this union of order and chaos, of crystal and consciousness, of perfection and possibility.